have tried over and over again, and what we are doing is not working. And in fact, our local resources have increased, but it has not dealt with the problem based on the magnitude of what we're experiencing. I run into people day in and day out in the Tenderloin, and they say, London, we would have never been allowed to get away with this stuff back in the day.
She's bragging about wrecking the city. At San Francisco, lunatic left Mayor London Breed, it's San Francisco, California, and they've gone mad. They've gone thoroughly and completely mad. You know why? Democrats, because Democrats are in charge of everything there. And therefore, first of all, they've got a neighborhood they call the Tenderloin. That seems wrong all by itself, doesn't it? And then you go there and watch your step, because you could slip on the pyramids. They just call them pyramids. It's a euphemism. And then you could fall onto a homeless person. And if you did, you might be punctured somewhere in your body by their HIV-infected hypodermic needle, which was issued to them by the Democrats, because that's better. They're making it better. Just amazing stuff. And it went wild. It went crazy there, because San Francisco, here's one of the one of the headlines from KQED. That's another Panhandler broadcasting station, I believe, isn't it, out there in San Francisco? Quote, compassion is killing people is the headline. That's the end quote. SF Mayor, San Francisco Mayor London Breed pushes for more arrests to tackle city's drug crisis. More arrests? You fascist pig. What is the, I think I'd be banned from Facebook for saying that she's a fascist pig, but there it is. An attempt by San Francisco leaders to hold an outdoor question and answer session. The mayor and members of the city council, but which they don't call city council, they call it the board of supervisors. So they don't have city council men and women. Maybe that's what it is. Now they're just supervisors. That's genderless. I might have just cracked the code there in San Francisco with the thing. So they said that question and answer session, and then it turned violent, and it turned into what the news media in San Francisco called a circus, which I think is redundant, isn't it? Honestly. So the question and answer session about the city's drug crisis, they now admit they have a drug crisis, was thwarted. Their attempt was thwarted Tuesday afternoon after protesters at the United Nations Plaza shouted over Mayor London Breed and Board of Supervisors President Aaron Peskin. Aaron Peskin. He's a Peskin.
In light of the mayor's statement, which I appreciate, we will recess this meeting to the Board of Supervisors chamber, wherein the mayor will respond to the asked question. We will recess to the Board of Supervisors chambers. You are all welcome to join us.
You can't call shots. You over there. You gotta come down here and see what's really going on.
The sounds of the city, not exactly like Steve McQueen's San Francisco in Bullitt, is it? Now it's and that had a nice high-speed chase, but the city was otherwise nice. They had restaurants and jazz music and things, and it was very nice. After retreating to City Hall, Breed and Peskin, who had requested the special off-site location for the full Board of Supervisors meeting to put a spotlight on problems in the area, continued to discuss with a retreated, hey, run away, and they ran inside. They continued to discuss how the city is addressing ongoing problems with open-air drug dealing, and it's an open-air insane asylum. Who was it that posted it? It was, Grabian, yesterday, night before last on my Newsmax show at 9 p.m. Eastern time, where everyone should join in. We talked about New York City, and I said, well, New York City is an open-air insane asylum. And lefties got upset with that. You know why? Because they're insane, I think, and they prefer the insane asylum. They like the New York City of Taxi Driver and Death Wish. See, I like the New York City of Made in Manhattan, with Jennifer Lopez. Sure, I like Jennifer Lopez, but that's not the only reason. So after retreating inside, they continue to talk about the problems of the open-air drug market. and the dangerous street conditions. This is the Panhandler Broadcasting System writing this. All of which UN Plaza has come to symbolize. And then a woman grabbed a brick. The plaza, UN Plaza, is red brick. It's a red brick plaza, and apparently some of the bricks came loose. And a Democrat, police identify her only as a Democrat, appeared to be a biological woman, but hard to say for sure, grabbed a brick and hurled it and got some good distance on it, and then was tackled in, as I said, in a football-style tackle by a young man. And the cops came over, and it's unfortunate, but she was killed in the screen. She wasn't really. I just made the killed part up. But there goes the brick. The KQED London Breed touted many of the mental health services and programs. They have many mental health services and programs the city has under her leadership, and praised efforts to prioritize treatment over punitive approaches, because they'll continue to get everything wrong forever until everyone's dead and we're living in a post-apocalyptic nightmare like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. We're going to have children lashed to the grills of trucks barreling around the city, screaming at the top of their lungs. But she, the mayor, also said accountability has been lacking, you think? Does that seem incongruous, perhaps? And suggested that the city's public health-based approaches have reached their limits of efficiency and efficacy in tackling the current crisis. More London Breed? And London Breed at UN Plaza yesterday in what the news media described as a circus.
Why should someone else's rights be put before their needs and their safety and what they deserve too in a place like San Francisco that claims to be so compassionate and liberal? What about them? So at the end of the day, some people are going to like it and some people aren't. And that's just what it is. Because I'm putting everything on the line to change what we need to do. And so with that, Supervisor Peskin, I appreciate your letter. I appreciate this dialogue.
She appreciates this dialogue. Why is she screaming? Honestly, these people are nuts. Now she's it sounds like she's turning into Rudy Giuliani over there. Just out of her mind. They're all nuts. And people elect them and vote for them, and then they vote for them again, because things are going so badly. And why does she sound like she's from New York? Is she from New York? She was born in San Francisco. She went to college in San Francisco. But, and then I'm gonna what a butter. Really? You're from Queens? What's with the New York accent? London Nicole Breed. And they keep electing them. All right, so that's a little fun in San Francisco, because San Francisco is an open-air mental institution, and New York City and Washington, D.C. are open-air mental institutions, and the Democrat Party's conclusion is we need more government mental health programs, because, New York City, a Marine takes matters into his own hands because the lunatic is loose on the subway, terrorizing the good and decent people. And she did make an actual point there, I think probably entirely by accident. And that is, what about the rights of everybody else in the city to live a normal life? This is why at the Chris Plant store on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, we have coffee mugs and T-shirts that say, "Remember normal." Remember normal. It's becoming more and more urgent. How long ago did we start? I coined the remember normal phrase years ago, and we've been selling this, and it's becoming more and more urgent that we all remember normal. I had a nice conversation with a guy. My best girl was out at a dinner with friends, and I was on my own, and I ended up sitting at a bar and, getting a snack and beer and talking to a guy I'd never met before. Turns out was like pro-Reagan, pro-Trump in Washington, D.C., quite unusual. And we were talking about remember normal, and he was all about remember normal. I didn't reveal that I, host a radio show and a television show and all of that stuff. We just had a normal talk like normal people. And remember normal is something that ought to catch on. We also have great pint glasses, beer mug, beer glasses, the pint glasses with all kinds of good stuff on them too, like Resist We Much, because we love the Reverend Al Charlatan. We love him more than MSNBC itself. Right, but
because at the end of the day, when you know what it feels like to grow up in chaos, you want nothing more than change.
Hope and change. Remember Hope and Change? Now it's syringes and change. But it's panhandling. It's when they say hope and change. That's what the beggars on the street say. The best thing to do for mentally ill people is not to cast them on to the street to beg for change. That is not the best solution for mentally incapable people. Thank you. Let's go to the telephones, because we've got, we're also raising, we'll get to that in a couple of moments. Let's go to Catherine, calling from Vancouver, Washington. Catherine, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Yeah, hi, Chris. I think you're wonderful. You make me laugh, and I love your show on Newsmax as well. So I wanted to say, as a former, a recovering Californian, San Francisco is the only city, I believe, in the country that there's 54 counties in the state of California, and San Francisco is the only city that is actually also its own county. So therefore, that is why you have London Breed, who is the mayor of San Francisco, and there is the city council of San Francisco. But then there are also the supervisors of the county of San Francisco. So I just wanted to say that. And my other thing is, what happened to Sam Bankman-Fried? Hello. Call that a day.
What happened? Well, that when the news is bad for Democrats, the news disappears. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, what about all of the improprieties of the Biden family and the Treasury Department scuttling more than 150 suspicious activity reports from the Justice Department, subpoenaed by the Congress, stonewalled by the Treasury Department, and now we've got the Justice Department. I got an update on this today, but it's not in the Washington Post. The IRS says, listen, we just take our marching orders from the Justice Department when it comes to laying off the entire team, bumping the entire team that was looking into Biden family corruption. The guy, the commissioner IRS, actually says as much. He said, we take our orders from the Justice Department. And that's not news either. Catherine, you
crack me up when you do that. When you do the thing with the orders. My dad fought in World War II as well. He was in the Army, and he was around when they freed Doc out, because he lied about his age, and so he got in when he was like 17, 18. Mm-hmm. What happened to that? What happened to when people would they wanted to fight for their country? What happened to patriotism? Come on. That was like freedom. And
the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party used to fight for that. Now they fight for the right to gender-affirming care for 6-year-olds. That's their goal now.
Completely. And my dad was a Democrat until the day he died, even though he really was very, very conservative and very pro-life and everything. But, he was a JFK Democrat. And I'll say this really quick. What happened to the JFK Democrats? Pro-USA,
yeah.
Pro-low taxes,
right.
Anti-communism, anti-segregation. Well, now they want to do all the segregation, everything. They want have black yoga classes, have black this, have that.
Graduation. Racially segregated graduations at Columbia University.
What happened to Reverend Martin Luther King? the character over, the color of your skin.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he was shot in the head. He was shot in the head and killed by a Democrat presidential campaign volunteer named James Earl Ray. And that's been written out of history, too. He was a volunteer, James Earl Ray, for the presidential campaign of Democrat Governor George Wallace, racist segregationist. The real history of the Democrat Party, which has been effectively erased, torn down like the statues of the Democrats that they've torn down in so many places. Catherine, you are great. You're my favorite. I want you to call back. You're great fun. Thank you, Catherine. Hey, Chris here with some exciting news. Now you can listen to me live on the WMAL app. Doesn't matter if you're in your car, in the office, on the go. The WMAL app delivers crystal clear around-the-clock news coverage anywhere with cell service or Wi-Fi. So don't miss a second of your favorite shows. Download the WMAL app today on the Apple App Store or at Google Play Store. Things are not going very well for Bud Light either, Anheuser-Busch. You think, can you buy beer at Target? Some Targets you can buy beer. They should probably strike a deal with Bud Light. You've seen the pictures making the rounds here. Every day, low price, you get a 12-pack of cans of Bud Light for $1.78. $1.78 for a 12-pack. Was that like 7 cents a beer? And still, it's stacked up here in this picture. Nobody's buying it because the left has just poisoned everything. They make everything toxic. Because, abortion and gay and trans. And I was sharing with you the other day, where was it? Nebraska. At the State House, another insurrection by the left at the Nebraska State House. Their violent rebellion against civil authority. And there was a coalition of the trans and abortion people, which makes no sense. There's also news out there about Lizzo. You know Lizzo? Wasn't it just a couple of years ago the Democrats were shaming everyone, fat shaming everyone, and talking about diets and all that stuff? And they inflicted Twiggy on us ages ago, and the bony, emaciated fashion thing. And now the pendulum has swung all the way back in the other direction. But this woman, Lizzo, was out there at a children's event in Nebraska, of all places, pushing transgenderism on the children. Don't let anyone, it's like there are laws that keep you from, they want to pass laws that make all the children change genders and never have a sex life. It's part of exterminating the species, I think, from the planet Earth. These people are unwell, and it's perfectly mainstream stuff with them, too. Lizzo, it's the new model for something. I'm not sure what.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are. Don't let any laws tell you who you're not, bitch. You are, I'm sorry to say bitch, I'm Don't let any laws tell you who you're not. You are who you are, okay? I see you. You are valid. You deserve to be here in every form. You contain multitudes. These laws are not real. You are what's real. And you deserve to be protected.
See, laws are not real. Just ignore laws. Laws are not real. Like the idiot governor of North Carolina, who's a Democrat. We want to get to that, too. I hope that we can. Lizzo slams attack on trans health care. You mean for children? And reproductive rights. You mean children? In powerful speech. These laws aren't real. You are real. Pretty amazing stuff. She's a pop icon, Lizzo. Proved once again that she's a true queen and LGBTQ plus ally by blasting Nebraska's anti-trans and anti-choice, you mean pro-life and pro-child, legislation in a beautiful speech, Pink News writes. So, the Democrat Party has lost what is left of its mind, and this is perfectly mainstream stuff. Completely crazy. At the Chai Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska, the About Damn Time hitmakers slammed Nebraska's LB 574 bill that effectively bans gender-affirming care for transgender youth. That is, leaving the children alone and not engaging in genital mutilation, including physically reversible puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are not reversible. You stunt and demolish the process of puberty. We've played for you the medical doctor who is a transgender person, was born male, grew up male, became a medical doctor, performed surgeries on people to change their genders. And the medical doctor has said when you give puberty blockers to boys when they're prepubescent and or pubescent, which is the whole point, that they will never grow up to be normal men, have a sex life, reproduce, or, do this.
Every single child or adolescent who is truly blocked at Tanner stage 2 has never experienced orgasm. I mean, it's really about zero.
Dr. Marcy Bowers is the transgender medical doctor that performs surgeries, saying you give puberty blockers and zero sex life after that for young males. You're turning them into eunuchs. And the news media, and Pink News is not news media. It's a radical extremist website. But nevertheless, they all say the same thing. And here it is, and it's a lie, including physically reversible puberty blockers. That's a lie. That's not true. And Lizzo is preaching this to a crowd of screaming children who couldn't be more excited. And the so-called Human Rights Campaign, a gay advocacy group that won all of their battles decades ago and continue to march now toward lunacy. Don't let these laws tell you who you are not. The laws don't do that. You are valid. You deserve to be protected. Well, you do deserve to be protected, and that's exactly what these laws are designed to do, to protect children from creeps and predators and groomers and people that would destroy their lives. You know what the suicide and the attempted suicide rate is for people that identify as transgender? The attempted suicide rate is over 40% for people that identify as transgender. And then they'll yell at you and scream in your face, that's what you were trying to fix. No, you're trying to make more of that. What you're trying to do will produce the opposite of the intended results or the allegedly intended results. But pay no attention to that. Speaking of Democrats, I told you yesterday about the lunatic that crashed a U-Haul truck into Lafayette Park, Lafayette Square, across from the White House, into the barricades there, the barriers that keep, vehicles driven by lunatics out. And I told you yesterday, the news media was very excited in there. And, there was a Nazi flag. The guy had a Nazi flag. His name is Sai Varshith Kandula. Sai Varshith Kandula from Chesterfield, Missouri, crashed the rented U-Haul truck into the barricades in Lafayette Park. He flew into Dulles International Airport in Virginia from St. Louis, and then he rented the U-Haul truck. He had a one-way ticket, to paradise. And Sai Varshith Kandula, the news media and the authorities have put out more information on Saeed Varshith Kandula. And it turns out he loves Hitler. That's what they say he told him. And apparently the police, they laid the Nazi flag out on the street because it's not really evidence that should be handled carefully at a possible terrorist attack at the White House. So we'll lay it out on the asphalt and see if the wind blows it away. And, what if there were DNA evidence in there of, Charles Manson or whatever, somebody's hair and the flag, and they laid it out on the asphalt. Nice evidence handling technique there, guys. Remarkable stuff. So the police released a statement, the Park Police. They took him into custody. And they say that when asked about the flag that listen to this, they're lying in it, that he showed at the scene. He didn't show it at the scene. What is this? This is the Park Police report? When asked about the flag he showed at the scene, I don't believe that's what happened. I believe the police found it in the back of the truck in a, it looked like maybe in a black backpack or a zip thing or something. But I don't believe that he shot. I believe that the police unfurled it and laid it out there. Isn't that right? Now, there's a gap in the video, like the Richard Nixon tapes, Rosemary Woods. When asked about the flag he showed at the scene, I'm going to have to fact check that because I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. Kandula stated it was a swastika. Really? Are the police just catching up now? What is going on here? Kandula stated he purchased the flag online on Al Gore's Amazing Internet because, quote, Nazis have a great history, end quote. He's 19 years old. He's from Missouri. His name is Kandula. Kandula was asked to elaborate on what he favors about the Nazis, to which he stated he admires their, now they have quotation marks, authoritarian nature, eugenics, and their one world order. Well, that's the Democrat Party right there in a nutshell. The Democrat Party, the left, because they're the left, they're not liberals. They're the one world order people. They are the eugenics people. They give out awards with the name of the founder of Planned Parenthood, right? And Hillary Clinton got one. She was a eugenicist, right? Margaret Sanger, a leading eugenicist in America. And they are the people that are authoritarian in nature. So, and he said he liked Hitler because he was a strong leader. These are the quotation marks around the alleged quotes. He said if he looked up to any leaders, he said Kandula said Hitler because he's a strong leader. Okay, there they go. So there it is. So he's obviously a complete nutcase. Damage caused by the U-Haul to the metal barriers, which are located at the intersection of H, like Henry Street Northwest, and 16th Street, right in line with the White House there, constitute property of the United States government. More than $1,000 damage. Well, that's not really the most important thing, I think, because the Pentagon just located $3 billion they had misplaced. Actually, a Senate staffer located the $3 billion that the Pentagon had misplaced. But never mind that. So that's we got that going for us. Man, oh, Manischewitz. It is Mailbag Day. I mentioned that it's Mailbag Day. Wednesday is Mailbag Day, and you, our beloved listeners, send questions in, and I try to answer as many as I can. And let me take a whack at some of these here. Chris Iverson writes, are Dems helping Trump in the primary, e.g. the CNN town hall, because they think Trump is easier for Biden to beat? Chris, the answer to that is yes. The news media is propping President Trump up and putting him front and center and saying he's the Republican leader. He's leading, by miles in the polls, of course. So he really is. But yes, they believe that Trump will be easier to beat because they'll gang up on him and vilify him and demonize him, and they think they've got all this stuff to use against him. And the media thinks that he's easier to beat. The media is the effective part of the Democratic Party. And the organizations are front groups for the Democrat Party. So yes, Ben, but let me say this, Chris. That's what they thought in 2016. And it's still worth going to YouTube and watching election night videos of the Hillary Clinton people crying and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what they think they're doing. They think that Trump is easier to beat. Yes. And they will promote President Trump because they think he's easier to beat. Also, look out for Hillary. She's lurking in the shadows. Abigail writes, are you interested more in the Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis announcement, or in President Trump's reaction? I've got to say, this Elon Musk hitching his wagon to Ron DeSantis and making the announcement on Twitter and all of that is is pretty interesting and pretty different. And we talked about it last night on our Newsmax show, on my Newsmax show as well. Is that a limp launch? Is that a bad place to launch? But President Trump's reaction was pretty interesting. He didn't go after Elon Musk. He took shots at Ron DeSantis, and which he's been doing a lot of, taking shots at Ron DeSantis. In fact, there are TV commercials all over the place on the air in Washington, D.C. and in Florida. I know because a friend in Florida told me, where Trump ads attacking Ron DeSantis all over the place, and the ads are pretty interesting, pretty devastating, I've got to say. Ron DeSantis launching his presidential bid, his announcement on Twitter, and Elon Musk is in it up to his eyeballs. So he's obviously, and he's kind of made this clear in the past too, a Ron DeSantis guy, right? And President Trump took shots, as he is wont to do, at Ron DeSantis, and not at Elon Musk. Some people are calling it groundbreaking. It's all this and that, but in reality, of course, it's an announcement on Twitter, and I think DeSantis is faltering a bit. I think he's waning and not coming out strong. And it's early yet. We're a year and a half away. I hear people breathlessly reporting polls this morning on the presidential polls, and I'm like, that is real interesting, but aren't we about a year and a half away from Election Day? And isn't that miles and miles from where we want to be? And the answer is yes. And I'm looking all over the place for the damn Trump response, and I can't find it anywhere because I don't have it in front of me. So I apologize for that. Now, Ken Garton, do you think Michelle Obama will be running for president? I myself believe that's their plan. That is one of the plans that's being bandied about. The suggestions is that Michelle, now, I don't know why she'd want to be president. They've got the greatest life in the world. She never liked Washington. She didn't like living in the White House. She doesn't like America. She could wreck it more because they still got a lot more damage to do. If she decided that she wanted to step in and become the Republican nominee, that's the only way that they could sideline Kamala Harris without taking bad publicity. But if Michelle Obama decided to run, I think the Democrats would go with her in a heartbeat. If Barack wanted to go along with it, I think they would be quite formidable because the news media would just gush effusively forever. And, on and on. Holy cow, I'm really running over all the markers today, aren't I? Yes, I am. And I've got, I think keep your eyes peeled for her. I've got another one. Tell us more about the time you got to fly an F-16. I want to respond to that one, too, and we've got more from the mailbag coming up, but we've got obligations and duties here, don't we? It's official. Reports say that the banking collapse of 2023 is more devastating than the banking collapse of 2008. And right now, a series of global financial dominoes are falling around us. It may not be over yet. So don't wait for that email saying, sorry, your account has been frozen. We must take action now to protect what we've worked so hard to build over the years. Call my friends at American Alternative Assets and request your free wealth protection guide. Give them a call at 888, the number 4, GOLD 20. That's 888-446-5360. This invaluable guide will outline the precise steps that you need to take immediately to transfer your IRA or 401k into precious metals, all without tax consequences. Call American Alternative Assets at 888, the number 4, GOLD 20 to get your free gold and silver guide today. Once again, call 888-446-5360. Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Seek your own legal, tax, investment, and financial advice before opening an account. Yeah, let me come back with more mailbag, and I'll find that Trump response. Yes. I'm going to have to figure out this mailbag thing and leave more time, aren't I? As I keep not doing enough. One of the questions in the mailbag, and this is a fun one. I believe we posted photos of my F-16 flight just the other day, right? And it came up because the Biden administration is okaying F-16s going to Ukraine after saying that he would never do that. But I was asked in the mailbag by Andrew Cox, tell us more about the time you got to fly an F-16. Were you just along for the ride, or did you actually control? It was 1996. 1996. That's a long time ago now. May 31st, as a matter of fact. And I was working at the Pentagon for CNN. We were having dinner with then Air Force Secretary Sheila Widnall. Not a good one. And she asked, hey, have you ever flown a tactical jet? I was with my compatriot there, Jamie McIntyre, CNN, Pentagon. Said, no, we haven't. She said, well, we should get you in some jets. And I said, well, we certainly should. And it was just a matter of a few days later. We were down at Moody Air Force Base in South Georgia with the 69th Fighter Squadron, the Werewolves, 69th Fighter Squadron. And now I was in the back seat of the F-16D model, a two-seater. And my pilot was a then Captain Gary Bell, Captain Gary Bell. His call sign was Tinker Bell.